Hello and welcome everyone to the World Famous Adventurers Club of Los Angeles. My name is Andrew Medina. I am member number 1212 and I'm so glad to be your host for the evening. We got another great program coming at you tonight. I'm joined by the one and only Forrest Asbury, who to talk about his adventures in martial arts anthropology.
Yes, I am a martial anthropologist. Basically, I look at the way that people fight and combat, but then going beyond that, I start breaking down what else we can learn, the region that the martial arts come from, religious connections, spiritual beliefs, and what we can learn about the people through the way that they fight.
So this interest, passion for martial arts started when you were a little kid. So how exactly did that start, and how exactly did we get onto this path?
Well, my dad really should have gotten land before time. Basically, like I said, my dad brought home a kung fu movie when I was a little kid.
Enter the Dragon?
Enter the Dragon.
I get that. I get that.
Was, yep. They all know, and yes, and I
heard some movies out there.
Yeah, you at home, that's just like, hell yeah, yes, I see you nodding your head, okay? So, yeah, he brought it home, and I was instantly memorized. You know, what little 6-year-old kid doesn't love watching a guy beat people up with 2 sticks bound together by a piece of string?
Absolutely.
And after that, it was over. It was a wrap. Karate, Taekwondo, Judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kali Eskrima, Wing Chun, boxing. I have learned a lot of different ways of punching people. But, you know, it goes beyond that. I mean, tonight we are going to be taking this journey to the edge of the map. We are going to be going to a place between a thin line between fact and fantasy, between history and myth. It's going to be, and somewhere in between the two of these is the world of the mystic martial arts. Half of it is going to be fake, but first, a disclaimer. Phoebe, if you could put disclaimer number 1. So if you are expecting us to talk about something like this.
And this is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right?
A classic.
A classic, no doubt.
Oh no, sorry, this isn't Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This is Hero with Jet Li.
Oh, excuse me. All right.
Yeah, another great film though. Or if you are expecting this.
Man, I can't wait to learn how to do this tonight, Forrest.
Me too. So, if you are expecting me to discuss and reveal the secrets of these arts, please seek psychological help. These things do not exist. But what we will be discussing is something like this. If you could play Iron Coat, please. This is a Shaolin monk at the temple. Please note the people in the background holding the very large spears. The motions that he's doing right now is centering his chi. And this is just for our benefit so that we know he's not actually wearing any armor. Oh, by the way, if any of you are squeamish, you may not want to look right now. Also, I should point out that anyone at home or just half crazy, do not try this at home. This man has trained for many years to get to this point. This is a Shaolin technique called the Iron Coat. The reason that he was not instantly impaled is because of a invisible force of energy called chi. This life force is in all of us, in every living thing. It circulates through us, and it is a belief that once you learn to harness it and connect with it, you are able to push yourself beyond what most people would call the limits of humanity.
You know, hearing you describe chi It almost like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, it almost reminds me of Yoda's speech from Empire Strikes Back, you know, like, what is the Force? Like, it surrounds us.
It surrounds us and moves through
Guides
us.
us, yeah.
Yeah.
Luminous beings are we.
No, where do you
Crude
think,
matter.
forgive me, George, but I have to say, where do you think George Lucas got the idea?
It's fair, yeah, fair point.
This energy does exist. I mean, sadly, you're not going to be force pushing anyone, or, you can wave your hand in front of the cops as many times as you want. They still know you are the droid they are looking for. But the thing that is interesting is that through chi manipulation, as we will be discussing later on, it isn't just a destructive force. It isn't just a way to fight and hurt people. It's, like I said, it's life energy, and when you're able to properly tap into it, it has incredible health benefits. But anyway, that's jumping ahead.
Well, so I want to go back to something you said earlier of like the sort of path that we're going to be walking between sort of mysticism and history. And I think you said something to me before the show that really stuck with me, and I think really kind of like encapsulates this idea of mastery, right? Someone can be an expert in a martial art. They can know all the moves. They can like know the techniques like the back of their hand. They can have done it for years, but to achieve mastery, there is almost like a mystical element to it. It's almost, there's something, they have all that expertise, but then there's something more than that. And, from the way you describe it, it almost sounds like something mystical, like an X factor. So I think that's a really good way of encapsulating this whole idea, this whole journey that we're going to be on. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Like you said, there are plenty of experts, people who know the martial art, who know their system. They can fight, and they can fight with the best of them. Some of them are even able to take on multiple opponents at once and do all the backflips and high kicks and break all the boards and the glass and the giant ice cubes and all that cool stuff. But that doesn't make them a master. It just makes them an expert. It's the next step after that creates masters. But
okay, so let's kind of start at the basics here. Chi, right?
Yes.
This energy surrounds us, binds us. Where did the concept start? And can you kind of walk us through its kind of early history?
Actually, I'm glad that you put it that way, because so most martial arts, especially those in Asia, can be traced back to India. And the oldest known martial art today, it is commonly referred to as the mother of all martial arts. And forgive me, any Hindi speakers out there, I'm about to butcher this name. It's Kalaripayattu. It is a remarkable style. It is unique in the way that it is done, not just because of its age, but because it puts special emphasis on flexibility and balance. As you are actually about to see, Phoebe, if you could play Kalaripayattu 1. It also has a lot of weaponry, as a matter of fact.
Hold on. So like, this is great. We can look at this, but I want, like, talk us through like what's going on here. Like, you look at that very short clip. What do you see as a practitioner of these arts? So let's play the clip again, and you just like walk us through like what's going on.
Well,
here.
These are two practitioners of Kalaripayattu. Now, one of the things that I do want to point out is that spark that happens at the end of that clip. These men...
Play the clip again.
These men are not using fake weapons. These are real things. If they miss, there, you see that spark? Mm-hmm. If they miss, someone is going to get hurt or someone is going to get dead. These men are probably experts or high-ranking students. This is clearly a demonstration. But the things that I want you to take into account are that, one, how deep their stance is. Incredible leg strength. Second, when they move, they're constantly spinning around, both their arm with the blade and their entire body they're moving. Mm-hmm. They're doing this to create centrifugal force to increase the force of their impact. But The speed that they move in is amazing.
Absolutely. Play the clip again, please.
So, sorry, wrong one.
Hold on, go back for a second.
So, see the way that they're spinning and then that move, they're constantly spinning. And so that spinning is how they generate extra force for their attack. It's, these men, they're practically brothers. They probably have been training together for years. So they have immense trust in each other, and that's part of the reason why they're able to do this.
Sure.
But because of their expertise, they also have the confidence in a blade that the master is willing to say, here, take this and swing it at each other. and
so, Forrest, what is that you've got there? This is from the Adventurers Club. You
yes,
pulled this off the wall
here. This is actually one of the artifacts here at the Adventurers Club. It is one of my favorites. It's actually part of the reason why I decided to keep coming back here. This is called a katar. It's a push knife. It's designed basically for close quarters, for punching. But the thing that makes it really interesting is just it can do that. This weapon is designed to open up the stomach and soft tissue across the abdomen. A pretty nasty device, but at the same time, it is the way that it would be used would be similar to this, where you would probably have a shield in one hand or a small knife, and then you would have a weapon like this. And like I said, it's just supposed to be quick thrusting kind of punching techniques.
So how does this martial art relate to the idea of Qi?
Well, you see, at the time, there was along with this, Kalaripayattu isn't just it's not about just punching people. It's a holistic lifestyle, and it includes stretching, meditation, massage, and a system of health called Ayurveda.
Okay,
And
I've heard of it.
Hindi speakers or practitioners of Ayurvedic medicine, I apologize. I realize I'm probably butchering the name. So what happened was that if we take a little trip back in time to around, let's say, 3rd century BCE.
Quick little jaunt.
Small hop and a skip. There was a gentleman living in India at the time named Bodhidharma, or that is a name that he would eventually be given in China.
Okay.
He was a Buddhist monk, and he was given the task of checking on different Buddhist monasteries throughout Asia. And he traveled from India up into China to a province called Tian. There he found a remote temple that was in really, really, really bad shape. The monks were in terrible physical health. They couldn't stay awake throughout entire meditation. They were weak. On top of that, because of the isolation of the temple, mountain bandits were constantly raiding it, taking gold or any relics or artifacts that the monks may have had. So good old Bodhi does what anyone would do, and he helps them. He teaches them fitness exercise, probably some of them from this very system.
Oh, wow.
And he creates a system of combat for them to use, using basic farming implements that they would have had in back then, spades.
Sure.
And and these monks, they become strong, they become focused, and they're able to defend themselves. But Bodhi, he realizes something, that he has actually made a mistake. The system that he has created is too powerful, too dangerous. So what does he do? He goes and he isolates himself inside of a cave for about 40 years, or so the story goes. And person after person comes begging to become his student, to teach them his secrets of combat. But he constantly refuses, until one day a man comes, and to prove his devotion to the teachings of Bodhidharma, he cuts off his own hand in front of him.
Which feels counterproductive if you're trying to learn a martial art, but I guess it worked for him.
It does, except for, I wish I had gotten a clip of this. Today, the Shaolin monks of China, anyone who enjoys Kung Fu movies is probably familiar with the name. They're a sect of warrior Buddhist monks. All of them salute with only one hand. And this is to show honor and respect to the first monk,
I never
the
thought
first
about that.
disciple of Bodhidharma.
That's really cool.
So the truth is that Bodhidharma was the inventor of the first Kung Fu.
Okay. And the concept, and so he brought this concept of prana up to
Yes.
China. And from there it evolved into the concept that we know and love today called qi.
Yes. Sorry, I missed that part.
No, you're good, you're good.
So as we were talking about qi, this word, it exists basically everywhere. It's the life force, it's the energy, but everywhere that you go, it gets a new name. As you just said, in India, they call it prana. In China, they call it qi. In Japan, it's called ki. We're going to take a trip a little bit later down to New Zealand where they call it mana. But no matter what you call it, no matter where you go, this energy still exists. People across the world, around the world, recognize this energy. It's in the same category as the myth of dragons or the flood myth. Just everywhere you go, every people have this story.
Right. Have this concept of
This belief.
of this energy.
This energy that cannot, that modern science, respectfully, currently doesn't really recognize. Most people consider it to be a superstition, antiquated notion, but
Sure.
but we will talk more about that in a bit.
So after China and sort of Asia, it would be a little bit of a stretch to say it moves to the South Pacific, but it appears as well in the South Pacific or in New Zealand, like you were saying.
There they, like I said, they call it mana, but mana is a little bit more complicated than it is explained in China and Japan and India. Mana goes beyond just physical, spiritual energy.
Okay.
Pardon me. It's any kind of power. So it can be used to explain spiritual power, political power, physical power,
Economic power. for
economic
example.
power, all of it.
Okay.
If you have any of this, the tribe or your people might say, "Oh, he has strong mana."
Okay. So it's much more broad.
It's a little bit more broad, but it does come down to this idea of a spiritual power as well.
But would you also say it's a little bit more like anthropocentric? Like it's kind of more concentrated in individual people in a way that it's not quite in Japanese and Chinese practices?
Oh, we will definitely be getting into that one.
All right, interesting.
There is there's something that we can really sink our teeth into over there.
What are we waiting for? Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's sink our teeth into whatever it is you got in mind.
Okay, well, you asked for it.
I did.
If we are going to be sinking our teeth into it, then I need to change the subject for a second.
Okay, what's up?
Cannibalism.
All right, Off to a booming start. Love it.
Okay.
Here at the Adventurers Club.
Oh, I see.
Let's
a few
talk about
people looking
cannibalism.
Really nervous in the audience right now. Yes, I'm talking to you. So there are three basic kinds of cannibalism. One is situational cannibalism. These are the guys that crash land on the side of a mountain, get thrown overboard in a rowboat in the middle of the ocean. Bad situation, got no other choice but to eat somebody. The second one is a funeral rite. These are traditions in which a family or a group will gather together to consume someone who has passed away as a way of keeping them, making them a part of them and carrying their spirit on so that they live on through them.
Okay.
The third one, which is what we're going to be talking about now, is combat cannibalism. This is when warriors will consume their opponent to absorb their strength, their power, And in the case of the Maori, the indigenous people of New Zealand, this was a common practice.
Okay.
So the warriors, they would literally eat their fallen opponents to consume their to enhance their mana through eating their opponent.
And so, I mean, I realize I'm jumping around a little bit, but this practice is still, well,
No,
let me
it's
pick my
not
words. Let me
practical
pick my words
anymore.
super. Let me pick my words super carefully here.
Last
You
thing
can
we
still
need
see a remnant of this tradition.
No.
Okay.
Last thing we need is the New Zealand government sending us a cease and
All right,
desist
New
order.
Zealand, do not come after us. I'm going to let Forrest rehabilitate me here.
No. Okay. The Maori no longer have any kind of practice in which they consume human
Yes.
flesh.
No. Yes.
Okay,
They don't do
It
that.
does not happen anymore.
Nope.
I've been to New Zealand. I still have all my fingers. The idea of mana, it is in the land. It is a part of the people. It is who they are. And yes, the warriors, the people who practice their traditions, a fighting style called taiaha, they cultivate this energy through them, and it makes the people, the country, the land strong. Actually, Phoebe, could you play taiaha, please?
I was fortunate to meet the chief.
These young men are part of a new generation of Maori learning the tradition. This is actually a very exciting clip because for the longest time, because of colonialism, the Maori were actually oppressed. Their culture was wiped away, and it was only through a few brave individuals going underground and secretly training that it survived. But the Maori have now taken great steps into revitalizing their culture. And interestingly enough, the New Zealand government has actively helped them to revitalize this part of themselves.
Okay. So, I think it's, I think it's clear to people who watched this clip and the last one that there are differences in this fighting style.
Yes.
But can you, as an expert, kind of talk through the differences between these two fighting techniques and, just how this technique harnesses mana versus the other one, which harnesses prana?
Well, honestly, from my perspective and my belief, it's the same energy.
Sure.
So,
but it manifests differently. What did you say? Okay.
Like I said, it's the same energy. Basically, there is a cultural variation, but on top of that, think of martial arts kind of like a bubble. A bubble is always going to be round because it is the most efficient form for it to take. A way that you are going to fight in a desert is going to be different than the way that you are going to fight in a jungle, and the way you fight in the jungle is going to be different than the way you fight on a rocky cliff or on a mountain,
or kind of an island community versus like up in a mountain.
Exactly. So with the Maori people, they have this strong tradition. And the weaponry is unique. They use, traditionally, they never really discovered metallurgy. So most of their weapons are stone, bone, wood, or whatever kind of natural resources they could find, including shark's teeth.
Sure.
But the other thing that makes it fascinating is that, respectfully to any taiaha practitioners, a lot of Maori practices have a lot of machismo, respectfully. They have a practice which many of us are already familiar with, especially those who like rugby. They have a practice called the haka. The haka is a kind of dance. But in particular, in this case, we're talking about one haka called the Peru Peru. It is a war dance that is done supposed to intimidate your opponent. If you could play haka 1, please.
And this is a common thing. Like you see this.
Oh yeah, you see it all over
All
the
the
place.
time.
In particularly, there is one thing that I want to draw special attention to. So this is right there. If you could just roll it back, there it is. It looks silly to us, from many of us. He sticks his tongue out right there. This practice in Maori culture is to say, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to eat you. But what happens is that the Peru Peru is supposed to intimidate your opponent, while at the same time it's supposed to help you harness your spiritual energy, your mana, to make you brave, to make you strong and ready to fight. Mm-hmm. And so the Peru Peru dances would be done on the battlefield. They would be sometimes very elaborate. And even the first people, when Captain Cook actually went to New Zealand, mm-hmm. and the islanders were impressed and surprised by these foreigners, people who look completely different to them, they welcomed them, and they had a celebration. And they did a haka dance for them to welcome them to the island. The Europeans had never seen anything like it, and it freaked them out. As a matter of fact, Captain Cook and his crew opened fire on the Maori at the time. And if I understand this correctly, they didn't come back for about 100 years because of the wild and savage people that lived on the island. So, talk about making a bad first impression.
Yeah. So, one thing that I've sort of been noticing is with this technique, with the other technique, there's a lot of kind of emphasis on circularity. There's a lot of circular movement, circular motion, either to like build momentum, to build striking power or slashing power, or to maybe it's like an energy thing. I don't know, but is that a fair assessment of some of these techniques?
Absolutely. Let's talk about a basic punch for a second. Just most guys here learn how to throw a punch when we're a kid. Mm-hmm. You ball up your fingers, put your thumb underneath, make sure you don't break it, and then
you can do this at home, by the way.
Yeah, and then you rotate your hand and you move as you move forward. This is actually a circular motion in and of itself.
That's true.
It's when you do this, the way that we do this is to actually help generate more force for the punch. Mm. There are entire schools of combat, like Gicheon, for example, where they just have a straight punch and they're able to do well, but they actually need to do more training to help develop back muscles to help create more force for the punch.
Interesting. Okay.
While boxers, they still need to train those similar muscles, but they're able to generate more force because of the different kind of punching technique that they use.
Sure, okay. But so I remember you mentioned, we're kind of going back to China now, there's like a fighting technique which is all about constant movement in a circle. So what is that? And can you tell us about that?
Okay, could you Phoebe, could you put up Bagua 1, please? This is a style of kung fu called Bagua. It's actually a very interesting one because it constantly moves around in this circle. The practitioners never stop moving. As a matter of fact, if you were to put a stick between her legs, she would snap it in half. It is also an internal form of martial arts. While it is combat kata, is also a walking meditation. And
it's one of, and it was descended from the first kung fu, from that Shaolin temple.
A little bit, yes and no.
Okay.
So the Shaolin are Buddhist. Mm-hmm. This particular this particular style is actually Taoist. So could you put up Bagua 2, please?
Sometimes the system takes a second to load up these videos, but
so it's basically, this system is said to imitate walking around a giant yin yang symbol. It is so constantly moving around. But the thing that is unique about this
is it, right?
There it is. Yes. So this is the I Ching. It is constantly this. So basically, she's constantly walking around in a circle, imitating the I Ching. The thing that is unique about it is that even this Bagua is nicknamed the style of change. It is said that a Bagua practitioner can get behind you and put their hand between your shoulder blades. And that is the last time you're going to see them, because no matter how you twist, no matter how you turn, they're always going to be able to circle back around to get behind you. They just can switch their direction on a dime. So it's pretty amazing to actually see it, though.
Sure. And so, are there any other sort of like techniques or like styles that are like kind of are similar to Bagua that originated from or that are descended from this kind of common ancestor?
Well, there are a lot of different styles, and one of the things that is fascinating about martial arts is that, like I said, it isn't just the environment it is the environment that births the style, but then it's also sometimes the spirituality, the religion itself that will come into contact, that will change things. Whether the religion is Buddhism, Taoism, from Kalaripayattu is actually Hinduism. So all of these can play into a role. But I'm sorry, I'm getting caught up in my own thoughts. But so I mean,
well, so you know, I've you see. I want to talk about Tai Chi for a second.
Oh, we were going for the Tai Chi, okay.
I am, yeah. So, like, I guess I've heard that technically it's a martial art, but you see old people doing it in the park.
Yes.
So, like, how much of a martial art is it really? And how much combat potential, like, kind of does it like, what is it for? I guess, what's the need state here?
So, the funny part about it is that what you're talking about is Tai Chi, I think it's Tai Chi Yang, which is another one. There's about 4 or 5 different versions of Tai Chi. The oldest version of Tai Chi, Gicheon, was actually originally used by bodyguards, palace guards. So, I mean, if you're talking about ways of laying a guy out, it can do the job. Then as time has evolved and less need for those practitioners, it evolved into something that is more just for physical health and well-being that we know it as today.
Okay, interesting. So, moving a little bit, remind me of the name of this technique again?
Bagua.
Bagua. So moving past Bagua, we talked about martial arts that are about redirection of force. So what are those?
Well, actually, if you want to help me with the demonstration.
I would love to.
Okay.
Want to do it?
Yes,
let's do it.
Okay. First, let's just move this out of the way.
All right. Remember, there's like a little table or a little tape marker there, so just remember to put it back on that.
Okay.
Whenever we get back here.
So, in Tai Chi, there is an exercise called pushing hands.
Okay.
So, obviously, there's a little bit of a difference here. So, if just put.
Or here, I'll use this one.
I mean, however you want to do.
However you want to do it, man. This is your show. All right, here we go.
However you
Here we
want
go.
to,
Here we go. Yeah. Stand up.
Okay. So basically, he is a larger person than me, right? So I mean, he literally.
Yeah, let's switch actually. So
Okay.
you're facing out. Yeah.
So
perfect.
he's a larger person than me.
No
If
one
I
cares.
try and just push against him, it's not going to work. But if I redirect him just by moving his arm I can get past it. But at the same time, he can do the same thing. He can push against me.
Like that?
And now you push.
I see.
And so this kind of push and pull, this yin and yang, force meets relaxation, relaxation turns to force. This is the essence of Tai Chi. Now, what this can turn into is
a bad time for me.
but at the same time, it isn't about trying to meet force with force. It's about moving past the force, redirecting it, and using it to your advantage. You don't need strength to meet strength.
Sure.
Sometimes a soft approach can yield greater damage than trying to meet a strong person with more force.
Right. And I think we have kind of a demonstrative
Yes. Now,
video that we can play while we set these chairs back up.
The unfortunate part about this demonstration is that the energy that we're moving back between ourselves is invisible and you guys can't see it. But they did a great job in this next clip, pushing hands. If Phoebe, if you wouldn't mind.
Hang on, wait. Say it for me. I got you. There's your mark.
Okay,
there's your mark. There you go.
Now, when you look at the water, these two people are moving this water back and forth between the two of them. This is essentially the same thing that we just did. The force of one person being applied to the next, but instead of a person trying to absorb it, pushing it back to the original opponent. It doesn't stop, it doesn't start, it just keeps going around and around and around.
And so that water is like the energy
The energy that we just transferred between us.
Okay. Very nice. And so this is an example of sort of Taoist influence on sort of martial arts and this idea of qi. So where does it go from here?
Okay, so there is one other form to talk about called Xingyi. Xingyi is the complete opposite of this, where Tai Chi and Bagua focus on circular energy. Xingyi is direct, focused. It doesn't retreat. It doesn't evade. It moves straight through whatever is in front of it. For example, if you could play Xingyi. Now, another thing that is interesting about Xingyi is that it is supposed to imitate the techniques of a spear. The way that a person moves is the same way that a person would manipulate a spear. But what is amazing about this technique is there's a few times when you see him, he'll drop an elbow or check a shoulder in to his opponent. That is literally force moving through his opponent.
Sure. Okay.
And so it's a complete opposite of the other two. Academically, they say that Xingyi externally is a hard form. Internally, it's soft. Tai Chi is externally a soft form, but internally, it is hard.
Interesting. Okay. I see. And this is a hard form because it's very direct and sort of to the point, as it were.
But what makes all three of these forms interesting is that unlike, let's say, karate or boxing or Muay Thai, that all require a lot of focus on physical conditioning, strength, and force, all three of these are considered soft forms. So instead of, like I said, instead of taking on physical conditioning, it's about relaxation, patience, and meditation, and breathing exercises. You can become a fairly effective Muay Thai fighter within, a year or two, but for you to come to a point where you can actively use Tai Chi or Bagua or Xingyi, you're looking at least a decade of training. It's fascinating that a lot of people don't think that these styles work. They'll say, "Oh no, this stuff is just for old people in the park."
Who would say such a thing?
Who would say such a thing? And part of the reason that they say this is because you don't see any Bagua or Tai Chi fighters in MMA. These guys never get into the ring. They don't get into the octagon. But part of this is that the amount of time that it takes for a person to get effective in these styles. After 10 years of training, I mean, do you really want to start getting into the octagon, or is your mindset just been taken to a place of where you just don't see the point in competing?
I definitely feel like your physical is different, after 10 years. I mean, I feel like fighters kind of, at least in the UFC or MMA, they're like kind of past their prime by the time they're like 26, 27, right? So if you've been training for 10 years, there's just a much maybe smaller window by the time, from the time you become like an effective practitioner and can get into the octagon to all the other sort of physical demands of the sport, maybe.
Yes, exactly. Now, there is one other style that I really did want to show to you guys.
Yeah,
It's one of my
please. Yeah,
favorites.
What is it?
It is called Baji Chuan.
Okay.
If you could play Baji. Now, the thing that makes Baji so fascinating is that, like Xingyi, it is a very direct style.
This is a hard style.
Well, you see, that's the fun part about it. Like Xingyi, this is actually a soft style. They are able to generate power through direct motion through their legs. But through it, they also are able to create immense force. One of these shoulder strikes, or coming into, or one of these, right there. One of those punches will send you flying.
But, okay, so this one, soft style, but Tai Chi is soft on the outside, hard on the inside.
Yes.
What is this one on the inside?
I have no idea. I'm going to be honest. No, from what I understand, Xingyi and Baji are very similar to each other.
Gotcha.
So I would assume that Baji is, my understanding is that Baji is also soft. It honestly, while it emphasizes footwork and leg strength, it takes, a lot of the exercises are more almost meditative. And so while you have these hard strikes, once you have them down, it's like, it's said that that once you, sorry, I'm getting caught up in my own thoughts here.
You're good.
Basically says that when you get hit by Baji, you don't the only time that you realize that you've been struck is when you hit the ground.
Okay, because it's so fast. It's
fast, it's effective, and but the transfer of energy is just so quick that you don't feel the strike or the check. It's just, you hit the ground.
Okay, interesting. So where do we go next on our martial arts journey here?
Honestly, I want to change the subject again, if I may.
Please, yeah.
All right, well, we have already been discussing martial arts, and we've talked about this destructive power of Qi, but I want to take a moment to actually talk about, as I said earlier, the health benefits of this. And the fact is that both through Ayurveda medicine as well as through traditional Chinese medicine, they have a holistic approach that actually utilizes Qi as part of the healing system.
Okay. So how does it work exactly?
Well, their medical philosophy is different than ours.
Sure.
Where, we have our organs, we have our blood, our tissue, and each one is works the way it's supposed to, and that is how Western medicine perceives it. In Eastern medicine, in Ayurveda medicine, they have this system called dosha. And so the dosha are three concepts.
Okay.
Kapha, Pitta, and you'll forgive me, but I cannot actually pronounce the last one. But
So Kapha, Pitta, and the last one.
yes, the
With
last
you.
one. That's
All right.
but each one is supposed to represent a different element: earth, fire, wind, water, and
Hold on.
space.
That's 4 things you just said, but
Yes.
there's only 3 Kapha, Pifa, and the last one.
So Kapha is earth and water.
Okay, all right, so we're
Then,
combining elements. Okay, with you.
Right. And so when these three are in balance, you are healthy.
With you. Okay.
But when you are sick, it's because these elements are out of balance. And then they will use different holistic approaches. It isn't just shoving a pill down a person's mouth and say, "Okay, call me and take this for 3 days and call me if you feel better." It's they may recommend medicine. They'll recommend changes in exercises. They'll may even recommend getting massages. Similarly, in Eastern medicine, in Chinese traditional medicine, they believe that each one of the organs is connected to a different element, 5 elements. So it's metal, fire, water, wind, and wood.
Okay.
And depending on, again, when these elements are out of balance, your yin or yang, and these elements, it will cause maladies, ailments. And then by manipulating qi or through acupuncture or even the use of tai chi or other martial arts, you will be able to holistically heal the body.
Right. I think that's interesting because, it's a different philosophy, obviously more holistic, like you said, but I feel like there's almost an element of, in addition to like kind of the pure medical science, there's like an element of almost discipline. It's like if you're doing Tai Chi, if you're doing like these stretches, if you're doing maybe not massages, but like some of these other things, it requires sort of input from the affected person. It's not just like a pill that goes in and it makes you better. It's like you have to do something. You have to change your lifestyle a little bit.
Exactly. And what is just fascinating to me is that even to this day, well, more and more today, we are starting to see modern medical science leaning on these other traditional forms, alternative medicine sources. I'm sure that there's a few people at home and in this crowd that have probably used acupuncture at least once or twice. I don't mind saying that I actually have a cousin who had an unfortunate accident and got some burn scars, but through Ayurvedic medicine, she was able to get rid of scars that modern medical science said were permanent.
Wow. So I want to make sure we talk about all of the things that we spoke about before the show started. So we've talked about, a lot of different styles. We've talked about sort of the healing and like life-giving aspects of these martial arts and of this energy. So was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Because I do want to talk about you and your experience with these things.
All right,
to close out here. But I want to make sure that we get
both
everything.
I can answer both of them as one.
Please, yeah.
Okay. There is one other element to talk about here, and that is honestly how these practices are used today. We have talked a lot about traditions that date back 2,000 years, 3,000 years. We've talked about old traditions. But in this modern world, in a society that doesn't really believe in qi and spiritual energy, what room is there for it? What if I was to tell you that there's actually a medical practice that is used today in modern hospitals, including cedar cyanide and St. Joseph, thank you, that is used today to treat everything from cancer, neurological trauma, psychological trauma, chemical imbalances. Hell, it's even used in weightlifting training.
I would ask you, what is that thing?
It's visualization of therapy. Basically, at its core, it's a yoga technique. For those of you who have practiced yoga or have seen it, you might hear something like, picture a bright, warm light entering your body.
Right.
Imagine that this light is moving to all the sore or stiff spots in your body, and all this stiffness is magically disappearing. But at the same time, imagine that you're in Johns Hopkins. You're fighting for your life against cancer, and you're in a visualization therapy session.
Yeah.
And the therapist will say something. Imagine a bright, warm light entering your body. It is attacking the cancer cells, leaving the healthy cells safe and alone. It's the same technique, the same warm, bright light.
Sure.
Now, after what we have discussed so far today, what do you think that warm, bright light could be?
Chi? Prana? Mana?
What? Where do you think that's coming? No, it can't be. That's nothing but superstition. That can't be. But no, that's exactly what it is. It's that you can call it what you want. Life energy, chi, mana, prana. In Africa, they call it ayasa. There is 100 different names for this energy from around the world. They mention it they talk about it in Aztec texts. The people in Native American cultures talk about the same kind of spiritual energy. All over the world, they talk about this strange energy. And yet, science itself tells us that it doesn't exist. But I want to propose just a mental experiment. So imagine that we have a squirrel, and we strap this squirrel down to a table, and we take it apart. Lungs, liver, all the organs, we skin it, we remove the muscles, sinew, everything.
Sure.
And we make it nice, even, we keep it organized and even. We save every drop of blood until we're down to the skeleton. And then we put it all back together Frankenstein style. Do you think that squirrel would hop up on the table and run around like nothing happened?
No, I don't.
No, definitely not going to happen. It's going to be dead.
All right.
So what do we learn from this? There's something missing. One last little inch. The spark of life. The thing that animates this. That thing, that spark, is what chi is. It is what life energy is. It is something that is there, and we know that it's there, but we've never really taken the scientific approach towards really looking at it. I mean, you can talk about the 24 grams, but that's another discussion on another time. If you want to talk about my personal experience with it, as I said, I've studied martial arts for most of my life. So I've grew up hearing stories and hearing my instructors tell me, focus your chi, bring out your chi. But it wasn't until I was in my early 20s when I met an actual master, a gentleman who has unfortunately no longer with us. He's gone on, as we like to say here, on the great adventure. Sifu Sam. And he was my Kali Eskrima instructor. One day after class, he came up to me in just the same way that you would pat any friend on the back. He patted my shoulder and said, good job today. At that moment, lightning struck me. Just my entire nervous system shut down and I was on the ground. He didn't hit any pressure points. He didn't choke me out. He didn't kick me. He didn't sweep me. But I was on the ground. The only explanation that I have for such a sensation and an experience was that he struck me with a chi energy. This, I want to believe, was his first lesson for me in chi manipulation. And since then, I've been more of a believer. I've gone on to try and understand this energy, this belief that exists. And as I have tried to understand, I've expanded further and further and further until I realized that everyone believes in this energy, even if they have a different name for it.
So we spoke before the program, and I asked you this question before, but you asked me if I would ask it to you now. And that question is, Do you believe in Qi?
Absolutely. Like I said, I actually experienced it. And like I said, there is a very famous quote, any sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic.
Sure.
So I would like to propose this question to you then. If such things are true for technology, could not the same be said for biology? Any sufficiently advanced biology would be indistinguishable from magic.
Sure.
There is this last little inch, this spark of life that we know that exists, but we don't really understand how it works or what it is or where it comes from. So there's that last little bit of biology that is still a mystery to us. And if, per se, we are actually able to tap into that energy, could we not increase our vitality?
Yeah.
Could we not make ourselves stronger, faster, maybe even be able to lengthen our lifespans simply by the fact of that we are consciously using and manipulating this force?
But in order to manipulate this force, it takes mastery, and not just anyone can do it. You have to have not just years of dedication and experience, but whatever that extra little X factor is.
Well, you see, now there is the funny thing about it. Yes, to truly become a master takes years of practice and dedication. But we also have seen that people who do practice Tai Chi or yoga or almost any form of internal practice, including Qi Gong or meditation, are able to help cure their body of disease, are able to live, they're able to improve their vitality. Senior citizens, part of the reason that so many senior citizens actually do Tai Chi in the park is because it has so many medical benefits, including helping strengthening the joints, giving them energy.
Absolutely.
And in some cases, even helping with neurological issues.
Yeah, and look, it's, like I said, it requires discipline. It gets you up out of the house in the morning. I'm not saying that all that other stuff isn't true, but additionally, gets you up, gets you out of the house, keeps you disciplined, gives you a little community. You can talk with other people who are in your group before and afterward.
Right.
Go get drinks afterward.
Always with the drinks.
I want to end off by talking about Sifu Sam a little bit and you. Sifu Sam has clearly made a huge impact on your life. He has clearly left a profound impression on you. And from everything that you've said tonight about Qi, about how it is kind of like this incredible destructive force, like an atom bomb, or like this incredible life-giving force that can, hold so much impact in a person's life. You said that he tapped you on the shoulder, pat you on the shoulder, as a way of teaching you how, your first lesson in Qi manipulation. Why do you think he chose that moment to teach you about Qi manipulation? What do you think he saw in you in that moment that made him think that this is the right thing to do?
Honestly, what I would love to be able to say is that he saw potential. And the reason that he did it at that point was because I was ready.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to give some deep and profound and eye-opening truth of the universe, but it's just not that complicated.
Yeah.
There is an old saying, when the student is ready, the master will appear. And so my master, he decided that I was ready to move on to that next step. If I may just voice a small, just irksome thing. There are a lot of martial arts schools today, and one of the big problems with them is that you have these schools that will just say, okay, you've been working for 6 weeks here, here's a new belt. Doesn't matter if the kid can throw a proper punch, doesn't matter if the kid knows how to do a good block, doesn't matter if he can hold a stance against someone applying pressure to him. But he's been there for 6 weeks, so it's time to move up to the next belt. No, Parents, if you're watching this at some point, listen up. Belts don't matter. The truth of karate belts is that once upon a time, all the belts were white. And you would have this white belt, and you would train, and you would train, and you would train, and you would sweat, and you would fall, and you would get it dirty, and you would wash it. And after months and months and months of that, it would turn yellow because of just all the sweat and grime that got in between it. After that, it would turn orange, and then it would eventually start turning green. And then after years and years and decades of practice, the belt would turn black. And that is basically what it is. It's not supposed to be the sign of a master. It doesn't matter what color your belt is. It just holds up your pants. It is. The belt itself is supposed to be a measurement of time, not of skill. And any school that will let your child move forward without making sure that they are sufficiently trained and have the proper skills, your child isn't doing anything, and you are burning your money on the fire. Oh, that feels so good now. Oh my God, that was cathartic. I feel better.
And with that, I'd love to open it up to questions from the audience. So if you have a question for our speaker, raise your hand and we'll get a mic around to you and you can ask your questions.
I'm going to take the first one since I get
Please.
the mic. Can you comment on, there were a lot of, I think, martial arts that were developed because of the, not so much from maybe the chi standpoint on it, but let's say they were on boats and they had to fight on boats, or they were on horses and they had to fight on horseback or something like that, and they had to develop a art for the environment they were in. Is there anything you can add or comment on that in your studies?
Well, there is one style that I know of that was actively designed to fight at sea. In France, they have a system called savate. In French, it translates to something like old boots. The practitioners of the style were French sailors that would wear old leather boots, and so part of where they would fight was on boats or on docks. So it's a unique form and one of the few European kicking forms I know of. But like I said, it was designed to actually fight at sea. If you were talking about on horseback, there are plenty of different schools of combat. Actually, you have several weapons in here. One right over there, in fact, that was designed for cavalry riders. Most of the time, these men would use larger weapons, lances, and so on. Weapons, of course, change depending on what culture you're talking about. One of my personal favorites are actually the Turkish cavalry archers. These fighters were known for being able to accurately shoot arrows on horseback while turning around backwards. And it actually became a tactic that they were famous for. They would actually let themselves get their enemy cavalry coming up behind them, which is typically a bad position to be in. And then they would turn around and start firing at them. Basically means that the cavalry behind them could not avoid the arrows. And it was a very effective method.
Sure.
Questions?
So, I've got two things, one of which is an observation and the second a question. So I find it interesting, this concept of chasing the idea that you can harness life force. And there are different schools of philosophies and modalities that work with specifically how one as an individual can harness that life force. But one that particularly caught my attention was the idea of mana. And if you go back to reading from the Old Testament to the New Testament, the thing that was given to the Israelites were this manna from the heavens, which touches upon the very idea that there's this life force that individuals and a community can connect to. So I just wanted to make that observation that this idea has been in perpetuity since biblical times. And then that's the observation. The second thing that I want to mention ask about is you mentioned this Sufi Sam.
Sifu.
Sifu. Okay, yeah. So Sifu Sam, what particular discipline? Can you elaborate a little bit more on this?
Officially, his system was Kali Eskrima. It's a system from the Philippines. It's knife and stick fighting. But he was proficient in multiple disciplines. I saw him use Wing Chun, Tai Chi. Actually, no, he did use Tai Chi. And he even had shown proficiency with Muay Thai. The thing that was really funny about him, though, was that he was this 65-year-old, actually he was probably about 80-year-old little African-American man that walked around with a cane. I swear to God, I thought that the whole idea of Yoda was just inspired by him. And no, I mean, that was really what he was like. He would hobble around with his cane until the moment that training began. He would drop the cane, and you basically were trying to stay away from him for the next hour and a half.
Go ahead. It's fine.
We'll talk more later.
Maybe this is goofy. There was a movie I really liked when I was a kid, and I don't know how much of a real thing it was. I think it was called like The Legend of the Drunken Master.
Drunken boxing.
Yeah, is that real?
Yeah. Yes.
Jackie Chan at his best.
Okay, so drunken boxing is actually a real form of kung fu. One of the funny things about it is that it's actually an incomplete form of kung fu. Half of it has been lost. It was founded by a gentleman called Beggar Sue. But yes, it is a real form of kung fu that imitates a drunkard, and it allows martial artists to attack from unusual and unpredictable angles that most fighters wouldn't expect.
Great talk, man. Which martial art are you the most adept at? And if you had to pick one that you're not adept at to study, what would it be?
I have gone through several different styles in my life. The one that I have the most respect for and the one that I took most seriously was my time with Sifu Sam. So Kali, I think, would be the one that I'm most familiar with, and I actually would love to be able to get back to. In terms of styles that I haven't studied yet, I mean, I would love to be able to learn Baji Chuan. There is Zulu stick fighting that would be fascinating. There is kicking and knocking, but there's, I don't know. I find the whole martial world fascinating, so I'm just one of these guys that I would love to be able to just go around the world just learning all of them. Actually, I would really love to be able to learn Navajo knife fighting. And by the way, if there are any Native American martial arts practitioners that practice a indigenous fighting style, please contact this club to get in touch with me. I want to learn more about your system, but I have not been able to find any information on it. So help a brother out. Call me.
So I want to try to make this a question, but I'm, as kind of a skeptical guy, I'm not sure how, except it goes to anyone who's been through basic training realizes they have some of this chi stuff where they take a high school kid and they teach you that you can do things you didn't think you could do. And how much of that is self-hypnosis? How much of that is groupthink? And the other kind of question I wanted to say is, often when we study these arts, we start in groups, we learn it together, and at first you do the thing because you don't want to look like an idiot in front of your peers. But then in the field, you do the thing alone. So I hope there's some kind of question there or something you can respond to.
Okay.
Have some fun with that one.
Basically, like I said, chi is life force, or as I like to call it, the last little inch. It's that last spark, the thing that is just intangible. So yeah, Shaolin, military training, they are designed to push you to your absolute limit. They make you so tired that you don't care that you can't breathe. You're so tired that you can't complain. You can't feel how hurt you are. But you push yourself beyond that. And it is in those moments that you push beyond your body that you can start tapping into that energy. Or at least it would be in terms of what you might call a hard style, physically demanding, forceful push. In terms of soft styles like Tai Chi or Bagua, you can get more in touch with the system and more in touch with your spiritual energy by holding a horse stance for 6 hours, which also would just be a literal hell. But ultimately, it's the same effect. You put yourself through an intense situation, you tap into a force that you didn't realize that you had, and it makes you stronger.
Forrest, I'm quite curious to know your biggest guilty pleasure kung fu movie. I'm talking like Fistful of Yen level. Can't say, Enter the Dragon.
Oh, no, I'm not. First off, there's nothing guilty about Enter the Dragon. What?
Shaolin soccer.
Shaolin Soccer is a good one, Kung Fu Hustle, but if we want, but if
not
we
guilty pleasure. It's
want
just a good movie.
guilty pleasure, I am going to have to say The Last Dragon. Show enough.
And with that, thank you, Forrest, for speaking with us tonight. Thank you, everyone in the audience, for joining us tonight. And for the folks at home, if you like what you saw here tonight, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. It helps us out a ton. And if you're in LA, why not come on by? We do this every single week, and you can meet our amazing speakers in person and ask your questions from our live audience. That's going to do it for us here at the Adventurers Club. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time off the beaten path. Good night.